Hello, Modern World History students. This is Miss Mate with you today, and I want to introduce you to one of our very first skill. Today, I'm going to be covering just kind of the general time periods and the topics that we're going to be covering in this course. And I want to introduce you to our one of our main resources, the textbook, and also Heimler's history. Therefore, let me just get diving in and let's get started. So we in our course cover four main time periods. These are general, okay? So don't get super locked into like this things only happen within this time period. They're kind of really blowing up in that time period, but their effects, their outcomes can go really past their time periods, their general time periods. So please do not think that these are like hard lines. These are more guidelines that help us kind of form units and kind of topics around. So don't get super boggled down that these events can only be true for these time periods, but there are kind of significant changes at these time periods. So let me just kind of go over that for you. So, our first time period that you are looking at is your first couple of summer readings. So, if you are working on summer reading, if you're an AP student, you did receive summer readings to kind of get you introduced to these topics. And that's going to be period one, 1200s to 1450 CE. You will see that CE after it. These are gonna be kind of how our empires creating. The most biggest topics that we are gonna talking about is going to be trade and world religions, because those are the main driving forces. Those are the main reasons or the things that help in empire grow. Trade helps allows it to fund their kind of country, their empire. It's huge for income, and then religion helps people unite. So that also, and it helps kind of keep certain rulers in place. It comes up with kind of own hierarchy. I don't want to dive into the topics because these are very big. We're gonna break it down by topic by topic. So we're not gonna go super deep into the topics, but that is going to be period one. Period two is going to be 1450 to 1750. Now here's a huge difference, right? Empires are really growing. By this time, they have grown. Now they are expanding because of gunpowder. And then they're also, because of better technology, will start exploring and get bigger connections, trade connections. So that is going to be huge. And then again, in our next time period is a huge change from the period of 1750 to 1900 CE. We all call this the age of revolutions. So some huge ideas, right? Imperialism, Europeans are really gonna start taking over and try to colonize different parts of the world for their own benefit. But you're also gonna have the scientific revolution that's gonna cause more logic and more standardized learning, kind of what we see in our classrooms right now, that observation, that test and experiment, and so forth. That revolution is gonna inspire the enlightenment. The enlightenment is going to be more about more rights, better governments, improving society, how we use science to improve our lives, also doing that for the government, and just kind of everyday rights and freedoms. And then these ideas, right? So it's hard not to talk about revolutions when we're talking about freedoms, and that can be economic, money, or more just living freedoms, like the right to live and be happy and choose your own place. So those ideas are gonna really kind of inspire this enslaved people's revolts in Haiti, and that's going to be one of the first places that are going to get their independence. We're going to see success in the American Revolution. The American Revolution is overthrowing the British colony, or sorry, the British colony, right? The Americans are under a British colony, and they're going to overthrow and create a wonderful, new democracy. The French also want to overthrow the monarchy, the king and queen. They do have success with overthrowing the king and queen, but unfortunately, Napoleon is going to replace that king and queen with a very kind of authoritarian monarchy type of rule. So we consider the American success. The French is not super successful because not much change is created. And then lastly, we have the 1900 to present. Students really enjoy this time period because we get some really modern topics. So yeah, these are the global conflicts. We're gonna start off with revolutions, overthrowing governments in Mexico, Russia, Chinese, and right, we're gonna see new forms of government and how do we run a modern society where we work is different from farming. It's more in the cities, in factories, or in the service industries. We're also gonna see the world wars, right? A lot of tensions uprise, and we have a powder keg that blows up and right creates World War One and World War Two. They kind of in one unit because they're very continuous kind of wars, so we kind of study them together in one, which is a little more advanced type of format. And then Cold War and Cold Proxy Wars. Usually, we barely get to these ideas. Unfortunately, we do kind of get up to this point. Hopefully, we're going to be more successful going forward at keeping that higher pace. But the Cold War and the Proxy Wars is a really important kind of unit, and it really sets you up for your next year US history. So, it is a great thing to get to. So, that is the first thing that I would like to show you. Secondly, I would like to introduce you to our textbook. If you do just a Google search, if you can type this in. Oh, sorry. Let me just make sure I get that on for you. It's AMSCO Modern World History. Okay, this is what there is. Like I said, many pre-owned. This is a classic. This is kind of a rite of passage. It is a wonderful textbook used throughout the country, right? It's a very, very popular. So there's many cheap options for you on Amazon, Etsy, eBay, all over the place. So I do recommend getting the book. I personally like to have it right where you can read it anytime. You have 3 seconds, you can highlight, you can kind of make notes. I recommend that. If that is not an option for you, literally all you have to do is type in AMSCO Modern World History, and then you are gonna get it also Internet Archive. Okay, this is right a very important book for education, so therefore it is available for you on Internet Archive. That will take you to this website. From here on, you can kind of scroll through the pages. That is the cover, the same one you see on Google. So if you lost your summer reading, if you are ahead, if you are all of that, it's all here. Okay, so the whole textbook is beautifully here for you. I printed out for you guys and gave you units 1 and 2. So if you lost it and need other copies, or if you like a paper copy, prefer a paper copy, we can also set up a time and meet the school and get you a printed copy. So I am available to do that as well. So, but that is also always a kind of fallback. The other thing that I would like to kind of show you guys is Heimler's history. This is more for content. So Heimler's history, you can put it into YouTube or Google. He is your AP World or AP Histories everything. He offers AP World, AP Push, AP Gov, and AP Euro. So that is kind of the sequence of how you are going to take it in high school. So we start out with AP World. AP Push is American history. It really kind of, my class really sets you up for that well. And also for AP Gov, those courses is really just going to get easier. And then AP Euro would kind of have you go back to your freshman year to refresh. So that is kind of the sequencing of most of those. So you are in AP Modern World History this year, okay? This year. My world history classes, we kind of follow very similar coursework, just usually kind of scaffolded down a little bit. So you are in this. You also have all kinds of unit reviews, explain sessions, all kinds of fun things. But you are gonna wanna go to the AP World History Review, okay? You may start at AP World History Unit 0. That is not material going to be tested, but it is helpful for you to understand what you're walking into. That is kind of where I'm gonna start my year with learning about religions and basic world geography. So that is a great place to start. That is a great place where we're gonna start in the classroom. And then from there on, you are seeing that you have it every unit. And this is the same topics that I teach you, right? So this is done nationally. This is not something I create. I create your lessons, your daily lessons, but the curriculum is set by AP, AP classroom, and those are the same, college board that does ACTs and SATs. So that's why it's really great to get as much practice in. So if you are reading and are confused, or you're reading and want to supplement your learning, your best other tool is going to be Heimler's history, especially if you're not a strong reader, okay? And you still want to do well in the class, you need to listen to him all the time. So you need to make sure that you're listening. And then he talks very fast. So you are gonna have to kind of listen, pause. If there's stuff that you don't understand, you might also have to Google. So that is where I'm gonna wrap up this video. Again, what we covered today is just general time periods of what we are going to be covering, and just some topics that we're going to touch on. We're not limited to those. We're going to cover many, many more. Talk about race and identity and perspective a lot. I wanted to introduce you to kind of your resources of where you can find our textbook. You can also get free downloads. There's many, many options. I'll post some to Google Classroom as well. This is one option. This gives you all the practice you need with the units, the end of unit questions, practices. I highly recommend you start looking at that. If you are not a strong reader but still want to do well in the class, at minimum you need to be doing videos and taking notes on them. At minimum, that's not going to make you as successful as reading, but as a first step, if that's what you are, if that's where you are at the moment. Okay, but I highly recommend reading the textbook. It will make a lot more sense. And so what I would do is I would read the textbooks, then go to the videos. Okay, so that is my first video for you. Please look over that. Reach out to my email at mmate. I'll write it out for us. Email would be mmate at capecolumbus.org. Okay, shoot me any questions. Thank you guys. Have a great day.